This is More Knowledge, More Wealth with your host, Gabriel Shahin. Gabriel is a certified financial planner and a registered investment advisor at Falcon Wealth Planning. This show does not intend to provide personalized investment advice through this broadcast and does not represent that the services or securities discussed are suitable for any investor. Investors are advised not to rely on any information contained in the broadcast in the process of making a full informed investment decision. Now here's your host, Gabriel Shahin.
All right, folks, lots to talk about today. So we're going to talk about the book, and chapter 2 of the book is how rich people build healthy habits, financial habits specifically. And so in general, when you look at just anybody successful, right, because that's the whole idea of the book, is just people in success, they have certain habits they do every day. A healthy person will maybe wake up early, work out, and eat well. There are successful habits that people do depending on your situation. But here we're talking about finance. We're talking about money. And when we see what rich people do to maintain, to have a successful future, to have these financial habits, I want to go over a few of these. Now, some of these are not crazy, right? But it's understanding that you and I, we wake up, we get out of bed, we put our pants on the same way. Each person does and can do the same routine for success, but it's having that discipline. So the financial habits, number one, starts off with discipline. They have to know where they're going and how they're going to get there. I'll give you an example. And you've heard the people say the difference between a dream and a goal is just the steps to get to that goal. I want to buy a house. Okay, tell me, how much is the house you want to buy? Let's say it's $600,000. Okay, great. Two ways you could save money for that house. You could do 20% down, which is $120,000, or let's just say an FHA loan for 4% down. So what is that? Well, that is $24,000. So now you know, depending on how much you make, I don't know how much you make, I don't know how much you spend, I don't know any of that. So you could live in with your parents. People want to make fun of you living in with your parents. You could save $25,000 a year on that, assuming you spend $2,000 a month. They can laugh all you want until you buy your home and they're over here paying rent, right? So you could start off, whatever it is, that was just one of the infinity examples that's out there. So you have to put it in your head. How can you achieve that? The reason some people get financial help is they don't know the options that are available. They don't know about getting roommates. They don't know about cutting back and not buying and going out to eat every single day. You start adding that up with the coffee that costs $10? Because now everybody asks for a tip. So you got $10 for coffee, you got $20 for lunch, that's $30 times 5, that's $150 a week, that's $600 a month. Just stupid things like that. So the financial habits is, I always say, don't try to live the life that you want. Live the life that you need to live today so you can have the life that you want. This is where people screw it up all the time. Why? We're in a society of now, now, now. I'll never forget when my nephew were taking pictures, and I had this old disposable camera. We went to a wedding, they put these disposable cameras on the table. I thought it was cool until I realized how expensive it was to develop photos now. Regardless, I'm over here taking pictures, we're saying cheese. This kid was freaking out crying. I couldn't understand why this kid was just screaming, asking for this little rectangle box, and he wants it, and he gets it, he's screaming even more and throwing it. It hit me that the kid was upset he couldn't see the image on the camera. He couldn't. We're in a society now where we want it now. God bless our first world country that we live in, where the poorest people have the nicest shoes, the newest phone, and pretty nice clothes on. That is a first world country. So all we're talking about when we're building habits is understanding the goal that you want. And once you realize you have this gap, whether in that specific example, buying the $600,000 house, whether it's $24,000 in savings, all the way up to $120,000 savings, how are you going to get there? Well, we know very well, if you want to buy a house in 2 years, you have to save either $12,000 a year or $60,000 a year. Figure it out. You need help with that? That's why people get a financial planner. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth here on every weekend. And we're talking about all important topics of personal finance. And we're talking about this book that's coming out, How the Rich Get Richer, July 1st. And I'm going over the chapters here of the book. And we are talking about rich people build healthy financial habits. And I wanted to go over a few of those topics today. Because it's true. The habit some people end up doing is just saving first and spending second. It's kind of not a complicated concept, right? But these habits become addictions. It's kind of crazy. That's probably why you're listening to this show right now. That's probably why you're interested in reading the book, because it becomes an addiction, right? You start drinking, you drink too much, that habit becomes an addiction. You can say the same thing about anything. So these habits of savings becomes an addiction, where now they are consistently saving. So much so where they don't need to do a budget, they don't want to do a budget, but for the curiosity, they want to build a budget to see if they can maybe save more, which leads to the second tier of this. Another habit they have is investing. Some of you are already doing a fantastic job of this in a 401k. Some firms might have you wait 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, whatever the case is, but eventually you're eligible for that 401k, and these companies automatically set up a 3% savings. Sometimes, if the companies are really cool, every year they'll give you an extra 1% where it goes towards the savings. What does that mean? You might be saving 3%, next year is 4%. The year after that's 5%. Some of these companies actually do a 401k match. It could be 1%, 4%, or whatever it may be. That's free money that's going to you in addition to your salary. These are healthy financial habits. Another financial habit is every year, people at the end of the year or the beginning of the year will reassess their financial situation. What do? Well, they'll take a look. Hey, I got a raise. Maybe I'll increase that 4 or 5% savings into my 401k. I'll move it to 6%. 7%. Every year they look to up that by 1% or anytime they get a raise. Or they'll say, you know what, I'm going to try to save. I'm going to try to make myself struggle and save 25% of my savings or my paycheck into savings account to build my cash reserves and pay down my credit cards. I hate credit card debt. That becomes a habit where you do not like debt. So the rich people put themselves in a situation to have successful and healthy habits. The end goal here is to strengthen the core of your financial situation. Just like me, I try to have healthy habits. What did I have for lunch today? A pear, a peach, and an apple. And I worked out in the morning. Yes, those are healthy habits. Do I do it all the time? No. Should I? Absolutely. Should I hire a coach? Probably get me up a lot earlier and work me out a little harder. This is the core concepts of healthy financial habits in general. Yet again, why other people have a financial professional. The book is here to identify what you need to do. Because these habits don't just start with the financial professional. I've learned these traits from you. One of my most successful clients, I asked, how were you able to save so much money? He's like, I saved first and spent second. So freaking simple. And the dude saved a boatload, invested a boatload. Because at a point in time, how much do you really need in savings? He got the house, he got the car, started saving a boatload. He ran numbers saying, I need to spend this much a month to have a successful life. I need to spend, let's just call it 10,000. Let's call it 20,000. That seems like a high number. Great. And I want to retire at 50, 60, 70, whatever the age may be. It came out where he's actually saving more than he technically needed to save. So what was the recommendation there? Well, you can either speed up your retirement, number one. Number two, increase your lifestyle. Or number three, put yourself in a position where you make the decisions. You work not because you have to, but because you want to. Who doesn't want that? The habits that successful people have are really the understanding and discipline of being decisive. You have to be decisive. You have to know this is either going to be good for you or bad for you. Now, I get it. If that was the case, I would never have a drink of alcohol in my life. I can argue alcohol is always bad for you. I'm not saying I get hammered, but I'm saying there's times I like to have a drink. And so there is a balance in the world, because you know why? I can guarantee you'll be a multimillionaire. How about you just sell your real estate and you get in a one-bedroom studio in Compton, California? You can retire with tens of millions of dollars, but life has balance. You want to be able to enjoy a little bit. That's why we say you don't save 50% of your pay. 25% is quite extreme if you think about it. I'm just saying put yourself in a situation where you can pay down the debt and have maybe 3 months of cash reserves. It's not that complicated. So yes, you have to take that one step back. So another successful financial habit is sacrifice. Oof, the S word sucks for us, right? We're here in America, this first world country, where we get everything that we want. And now it's even easier. You could be at home on Amazon. It could be delivered to you by the afternoon. It's even better. Or Walmart Plus. You pay an extra $5 and it's at your house in literally 2 hours. How cool is that? I don't remember the last time I've been into Walmart. And man, there's like memes on Walmart people out there. It's crazy when you look at that. Jokes aside, right? The point is you have to have sacrifice. The sacrifice is simple. Understand what your goal is and know that it's okay to take one step back for infinite steps forward. This is a key element of financial success. You have to realign, recalibrate, and understand what is your goal. If your goal is just to have fun and not worry, be worry-free, because that's most Americans. I get it. It makes sense. I also just want to have fun. But sometimes you have to think about tomorrow. And what if your situation today changes? Whether it's an injury, a disability, a death. Well, not death for you, someone close to you, or whatever the case is, right? If you die, then I'm sure you wish you spent all your money. But the idea is you have to be able to prepare for the uncertainty of life. This is a key element of what successful people and what rich people look at, is the habits to prepare themselves for tomorrow. And not everybody knows what tomorrow looks like. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about some of these healthy financial habits that are out there for you.
This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner and President of Falcon Wealth Planning. We wanted to offer you a free financial assessment for listening to the show so you can help relate it to your specific situation. We offer multiple services such as retirement planning, where you are today, how retirement looks like, talking about Social Security, real estate, planning, even if you own a business, talking about taxes, not just how to save money today, but also throughout retirement. Talk about investments, making sure you're avoiding those high fees, costs, commissions, and also estate planning and insurance, just making sure you're properly protected if, God forbid, something were to happen. And we're offering 1 to 2 meetings, 1 to 2 hours of our time at no cost. Give us a call. We would love to help. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, and fill out the form fill right there on our site.
Welcome back, folks. This is Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host of More Knowledge, More Wealth here on every weekend. And we're talking about all important topics of personal finance. And today we're going to talk about just the core concepts of the new book, How the Rich Get Richer, coming out July 1st. And we are talking about Chapter 2 as we're going over a series of the chapters. And we're talking about how rich people build healthy financial habits. And so we discussed in the first segment about discipline and putting yourself in a positive situation, understanding what your goal is, how to get there, how to figure it out. And I get it. We always say Americans are very financially illiterate. Quite frankly, all of the world is financially illiterate. And it makes sense. It's just sometimes hard to capture the idea of numbers. Even Albert Einstein says the most complex situation is understanding the U.S. tax code. Like, I get it. It's complex. And taxes are a big part of the financial literacy. But understanding about healthy habits that you can get, healthy habits that you can take advantage of to achieve your financial goals. Because remember, the whole idea is, how does the rich get richer? When you understand how the rich get richer, you have to know how they get there. And it does start And one of the biggest habits that they have is they consistently bring in income. They can bring in income the easiest way, working. These people like to work. They're addicted to work. They like it. When you like doing something, it's easier to actually be really good at it, which means you actually get recognized for it, which means you end up making more. And when you keep working, you keep saving and investing, and that's less that you have to touch your money. That's why sometimes you see the most passionate people end up being the most successful people. And you could do very, very well in that corporate America job. Another thing that they get is rich people don't get distracted. And we always hear the distraction always. Hey, have that side hustle. Hey, you can never do well working for the man. When you look, especially now, at how some of the most successful people out there, some of the most millionaires that are out there right now, it used to be 90% used to come from being a self-employed person. But now, especially where markets are, you have a lot of multimillionaires that are working from what? That are working from the 9-to-5 jobs. And it comes from discipline of saving, compound growth, and so on. So, taking a step back is what? Don't get distracted with all the nonsense. Working hard, staying disciplined. Literally, all you need to save is $400 a month. That's including your employer's match from 25 to 65 at a 7% rate of return. Keep in mind the markets have returned over 10%, even though that's not a guaranteed return. And then you will have, just at a 7%, over $1 million. So it is possible. You just have to start early and keep working and don't get distracted. You could do very, very well in life by just staying focused. Another thing of a successful financial habit that rich people have is communication. They are really good communicating, whether it's with their significant other, whether it's with their friends and their family. For example, I'm gonna have to work late. I really have had a long week. I have to wake up early tomorrow, and I can't make your power hour, I can't make your crazy party. I can't make your Vegas trip. I can't go to the Kentucky Derby with you. I'm sorry. I have to focus on my career. There are times you have to be selfish. And the misconception is some people think you have to be selfish for yourself, which means I'm going to put work on hold so I can go and have fun. Some people think that's the proper selfish thing to do. But in reality, people forget about the sacrifice. It's that one step back to say no to Vegas, to no to the East Coast trip, and to focus on your work, to make that money, and to put yourself in a situation so you can make the next couple trips. I'm not trying to tell you don't have fun, but if somebody's always asking you to go out, there's always an opportunity for you to go out. That means you're a great person. They see a lot in you, which means you're probably doing well in a professional environment. Don't get distracted. So yes, you have to be able to communicate with your friends, with your family, and not just on not going out, but on your goals, your financial goals. And I'll give you another example of that. Sometimes they'll say, you know what, this upcoming year, I'm really trying to save for that, whatever, right? House, car, trip, whatever, wedding, child, whatever. Don't expect as great of gifts as I've historically given for the birthdays, the anniversaries, the holidays, and so on. Simple concepts, yet again. These simple conversations and communications could help just delay or to cause issues and unnecessary stress in your life. Successful people know how to communicate it. Make it fun. Make it funny. Make it even you're teasing yourself for if you have to. It doesn't matter. The consistency here of these financial habits is one step back for infinite steps forward. Yet again, these are concepts that people are just not comfortable with, which brings me to another scenario. Rich people are very comfortable with uncomfortable conversations. Yes, these are habits to be comfortable in a situation that's quite frankly can be awkward and uncomfortable. This is a key element in life. This is a way, if you actually feel and think about it, to achieve some level of success, you have to find a way that you're comfortable in uncomfortable situations. What situation that could yield greatness? It could be asking somebody on a date that could lead to a marriage. It could be going out of the way for a job that you always wanted. It could be anything that's out there. You have to get out of that shell, get out of that comfort zone, and go for it. This is what you see sometimes with entrepreneurs. Going back to that. So there's always that uncomfortable nature. And same thing with having kids. Listen, people have sometimes more than one kid. Yes, it's hard, but there's also a lot of greatness. And there's never a good time to have a child. Let me tell you, I got 3. So the idea is what? The financial habits all start with communication. Knowing how to communicate and articulate some of these struggles, benefits, and long-term expectations. By the way, folks, if you're just joining me, you're listening to Gabriel Shahin, Certified Financial Planner, and your host. More knowledge, more wealth here on every week, and we're talking about all important topics of personal finance. Today, we're just going over the book, How the Rich Get Richer, coming out July 1st. We're talking about how rich people build healthy financial habits. And we're kind of going over all of these different concepts. And one of the biggest ones here, as we kind of talked about, is the consistency piece to it. And consistency is everything. And when you take a look at having a consistent situation where you are either saving, working, communicating, being disciplined to get to that goal, so it's no longer a dream, that's what's key. Most people are just blind. So what you want is to have the vision, have the sight, and don't let people bring you down. A lot of this communication piece, which you have to also understand of the successful habits, is you don't let people distract you. People are going to distract you. They're going to try to bring you down, especially when they start to see you prosper. And the one beautiful part is, going back to having uncomfortable conversations, is you have to know who is on your team, your long-term team, because every time your savings, your investment accounts, or your net worth doubles, you're probably going to lose 50% of your friends. It's as simple as that. It's not because you've changed and you think you're better than them, but they start hating. And that affects you in your financial journey. You don't want to have this feeling of regret. You don't want to have this feeling of people's eyes on you. You want to have a feeling of people that are championing you. And I say it all the time. You obviously, and people want what's best for you. They do. People want you to do well, but very few people want you to do better than them. It's just natural. It's human nature. People are jealous and people are competitive. So by maintaining that successful habit of staying focused and staying disciplined is so key to your success. I can't stress it enough. I see it often. I see it a lot. So just be aware of it. And we discuss it. That is why you have certain elements of habits. If you notice, this all has to do with you and what you're looking to achieve and about your goals. It's all about you. And there is a selfishness that's behind it. That doesn't mean you don't completely talk to family. Doesn't mean that you think you're better than anybody. That doesn't mean that you ignore everybody who's maybe helped you even get to where you are today. That just means putting yourself in a situation of success. I see this a lot. I'm an avid churchgoer, and I see sometimes people from 25 to 35 that don't go to church. I'm like, where'd you go? I've missed you. You've disappeared. They're like, listen, I just had to focus on myself. Focused on the career. I was working 7 days a week for the past 10 years, and now I'm back. And so sometimes, I'm not trying to tell you don't go to your religious organization. What I'm trying to say is sometimes you do take that one step back for infinite steps forward. And that's what I've seen for successful financial habits. You have to look at yourself. You do at times have to be selfish. And I want you to focus on that goal. You know exactly what you need to do to achieve that goal. So get yourself in that position, focus on you, and I can assure you, you're going to be one step closer to achieving your financial goals. Folks, that was a fast show.
I want to thank you for tuning in with us this weekend. You can always reach out to myself or any one of our colleagues here at Falcon Wealth Planning. Our phone number is 855-963-2526. That's 855-96-FALCON, like the bird. Or visit our website at falconwealthplanning.com. That's falconwp.com for short, where you can go and visit our Knowledge Center, which redirects you to YouTube. We have over 1 million views, folks. And if you want us to discuss anything on YouTube, on the show, whatever, send your inquiry to radio@falconwp.com. That's radio@falconwp.com. And if you want this episode, any one of our previous episodes, you can go on podcast, Spotify. We have them all there. And folks, we want to thank you for your trust. We want you to feel free and feel comfortable to reach out with any questions that you have. I want you to have a fantastic weekend. Have a great week, and God bless.